Hello and welcome to Business 7. Step by step, Namibia is making progress towards realizing its ambitions to become a huge global player in the green hydrogen market. And that is what we partly will focus on in this week's program. We hope you enjoy it and please stay tuned.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
As we've said, it's all about green hydrogen in this week's program. Now, this week, Namibia saw its biggest ever German business delegation coming to Namibia and engaging with State House and other players about possible investment opportunities in Namibia. A big part of that centers around green hydrogen. But also last week, another milestone was celebrated when Namibia officially launched its Daures Green Hydrogen Village. Let's take a look.
The world is not what it used to be. Intertwined challenges continue to entangle humanity in their grasp. The planet that we call home edges towards dissipation, and even though Mother Nature always does her part, her natural resources are constantly depleting as we continue leading her down this unsustainable path. The elders have always said that when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. As humanity seeks selfish progression at the cost of resources that cannot be replenished, the earth cries out because those destroying it are the ones meant to save it. And Namibia has chosen to listen. With the creation of a village whose practices will honor the land and trust in the sun and the wind. A community that will lead Namibia into the future of clean energy. A way of life that does not take air away from nature's lungs, but instead collaborates with the elements. Moving as one and creating a sustainable existence for many. Located in the heart of Erongo and named after the highest peak of the land of the brave, Daures Green Hydrogen Project is here to usher Namibia into a new reality built on ensuring the longevity of our land and its people. Conceived by young Namibians and supported by the government, Daures Green Hydrogen Village will produce Namibia's first green hydrogen and green ammonia in 2023, creating 50 full-time jobs and 100 temporary jobs during construction in Phase 1, with future phases of the project seeing over 100 wind turbines erected, over half a gigawatt of solar panels, over 350,000 tons of ammonia per year, all with the involvement of academia researching tractor conversions to run on ammonia and hydrogen. Daures Green Hydrogen Village can support the decarbonization of Namibia, SADC, and even Europe, because the earth has cried out for long enough. The time to act is now, so we are ready. This is the future. This is sustainability. This is Daures.
So much has happened since Namibia hit COP26 last year, telling the world about its green hydrogen ambitions. Let's take a recap about what has happened since then and what this whole huge project encompasses.
Namibia is committed to the following objectives for COP26. 1. We aim for a conclusion and adoption of the robust Article 6 at COP26. This critical step would provide the bedrock of an international carbon market mechanism necessary to drive funds to the places where emissions can be cut most effectively, to mobilize large-scale private investment for climate action, and to drive crucial innovation. Namibia is unlocking our 5,700 square kilometers in our Karas region for the potential development of green hydrogen and ammonia assets, expected to double the region's employment and triple the installed renewable energy generation capacity for the entire country.
As a planet, as a people, we are all committed to net zero. We want to make sure that by 2050, and we need to make it habitable not only for us, but also for our children and our children's children. And therefore, it's the duty of each and every one of us to make sure that we protect it.
I think to appreciate the vision of our forefathers, you have to look back in the history of Namibia. And our drought strategy was first implemented in 1936. So what does that tell you? It tells you that, Namibia, by its geographical location, climate setup, is the most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change.
Considering where we started, complete novice country in this game, the body of knowledge put together to make a case to the Namibian people. We have a constitution that has what it takes. Legislation, we can guarantee fiscal stability because this government for the last 32 years has offered what no other has, political stability.
Namibia could potentially be known for being the pillars and the front runners of producing green hydrogen and ammonia in the world.
If you had to pick a place on the globe where the sun and the wind are the strongest, because you're basically running a factory and you need energy to go into that factory 24/7. You want the wind to blow predominantly when the sun isn't shining. That's how you get your factory to be full, because you're powering it with energy. If you had to go anywhere and say where's the best place to do it, Namibia, by our calculations, the top 3 in the world.
We are standing on the cusp of a defining energy. We are part of the revolutionizing new fuels for the world. The prospects for a different looking Namibia, it's there for us to see. So harvest it.
And Namibia's advantage is that it has the best resource. It has the availability of land. It's got a government that is so progressive in terms of setting up and driving the vision to establish this. And Namibians should be proud of what the government has done. Outside of the US, I think Namibia is the most progressive country looking to stimulate the production of green hydrogen.
When you have something, when you can produce something that has got a market, now that the globe is going to demand green hydrogen, we have got all the ingredients. Why don't we make sure that Namibia will be one of the first countries that can actually meet this global demand?
The ability to make hydrogen, green hydrogen, has been available for many years. It's never been done at scale. Effectively, what green hydrogen is, separating hydrogen from the hydrogen molecule out of water. So water is H2O, and if you use electricity, and you use renewable electricity that comes from the sun and the wind, to separate the hydrogen molecule from the oxygen molecule, that then becomes an energy store. Think of hydrogen as a battery. You can then move that energy and you can use it elsewhere. You can use it to create synthetic fuels like kerosene, which is used in aircraft engines, to make something called green ammonia, which is what our project is focused around, which is used to make fertilizer, as well as the shipping industry. It's going to convert from using fossil fuels to using ammonia. So that's why green hydrogen.
Namibia has the opportunity to build multiple of these projects, and that in itself creates a very interesting bedrock to establish other industries that could very well be providing equipment or even services to these projects. And so if you begin to think of an industrialized Namibia, you begin to see a country that is, yes, providing solutions in terms of products like molecules, ammonia or hydrogen, synthetic fuels, electrons into the very energy insecure Southern African region, but also all of a sudden, because of this industry, it could start becoming a much more manufacturing orientated nation.
Our investment into this pilot plant is about 23 to 25 million euros. That comprises our training center, the refueling station, the solar portion, and the electrolyzer itself. In the plant itself, there will be, let's say, 5 to 10 direct jobs involved. The effect of the associated industry and what we kickstarting in that hydrogen hub in Erongo will easily run into the thousands.
What really excites me out of this project of the Dores Green Hydrogen Village, it has the community, it has the climate environment, it has the wind, it is close to the water resources. We are also going to have a pocket of greenhouses, around 6 of them for community gardens. Say 1 hectare of undergreen net to produce green tomatoes for export purposes. What green hydrogen means for Namibia? For us, we see it as the enabler of ammonia for us to use as a fertilizer. Namibia is a net producer of food. We need to be able to cultivate our land and fertilize our land to, number one, produce food for ourselves, as well as a bread basket for Southern Africa and also for the export market.
Namibia has been a country that is ready for foreign investors since our independence in 1990. We want to make sure that if we are building new sectors, those new sectors is not more just about extraction, it's also about value addition locally, and that we bring in synergies of working between the public and the private sector to make sure that this project, starting with the Hyphen project, it's not only going to create 15,000 jobs that we are talking about as temporary, 3,000 as permanent, but there should be more that is coming in terms of the multiplier effect. So when I look at Namibia and I see the resources that we have as a nation, it's also about the beauty, it's about the landscape, it's about the diversity. And when I look at that, I believe that Namibia should be the best country to live in the world. And it is doable and it is possible.
When the world leaders met, to come up with the Paris climate change in 2015, everybody agreed, if you're not careful, we are going to lose this climate or this planet. Global warming is increasing, and therefore we need to find the solutions. Solutions started to come to the fore. By and large, what you need to do actually to start embracing more renewable energy. When that then happens, that people think, this is what the world will need in the future for energy, then it's like, okay, well, if that is the case, Namibia is really, really well positioned. Number one, we have got all the ingredients to be able to meet the global demand for this is really going to be the energy of the future.
Job prospects that green hydrogen stands to deliver to the economy, that impact is going to be huge and profound. We are looking beyond our lifetimes. We would have left something for future generations. That's the impact to the economy.
Every day, you make choices that make you legendary. Journey together with us on the path to securing your legacy as a member of the League of Legends. With the Select Platinum Bundle Fee Premium Bank offering, you will access tools that will enable you to thrive. If you earn 850,000 Namibian dollars per annum or more, you can apply for this offering today via bankvinted.com.na for only 447 Namibian dollars per month. Bank Vinted, a member of Capricorn Group.
Let's shift our focus deeper into Africa. Now, Zambia is busy with negotiations to restructure its debt owed to China. This report was filed by Reuters.
With the private creditors,
Zambia is pushing hard to complete restructuring of nearly $15 billion of external debt in the first quarter of 2023. Its Finance Minister Sitembeko Muskutwane said on Wednesday.
The discussions are very promising.
The Southern African country defaulted on its sovereign debt in 2020 and is now on a quest to restructure its loans and rebuild a ravaged economy. In August, Zambia won IMF approval for a $1.3 billion three-year loan program. In October, the government, which took power last year, said it needs a present value debt reduction by 2027 of $6.3 billion, or 49% of the debt being restructured, to meet IMF targets. Some international bondholders have previously said that level would be unacceptable. But speaking at the Reuters Next Summit, Muskutwane said engagement with bondholders had been very positive.
Everybody recognizes the fact that this is the only way in which Zambia and, of course, the creditors themselves can reset the economic parameters so that this country can continue to be an active participant on the world economic scene in many other ways.
Zambia's largest bilateral creditor is China. At the end of 2021, Chinese creditors accounted for almost $6 billion of Zambia's external debt, which was then a little over $17 billion. Muskutwane said Zambia was actively engaged with China, which had asked for a number of clarifications. China wants more clarity on the IMF assumptions on which the loan program is based, he said, since these are meant to form the basis of the restructuring negotiations between Zambia and all its creditors. Muskutwane also said he hoped to make an announcement by the first quarter of next year about potential new investors in the Konkola and Mopani copper mines.
The amount of interest that we are seeing in the mining sector is phenomenal.
Zambia's government is aiming to treble copper production to 3 million tons per year within the next decade, in what is Africa's second largest producer of the mineral.
Thank you so much to FNB for this opportunity. Thank you so much to FNB. What an experience. I never got to do shopping in 5 minutes, but look at all this.
Small startups, especially when it comes to technology, hold huge promise for development in Africa. We're taking a look at a promising venture that is being developed in Nigeria. This report by Reuters.
Mishak Odion is on his way to an ICT class in his school library. But today, the technology on show is an app that can help him read. Blind since birth, the 17-year-old attends a school for visually impaired children in Nigeria's megacity, Lagos. The aspiring musician has worried about what the world would hold for him with Braille as his only means of reading.
Actually, I would prefer this app because there are many things that I will see outside there, and maybe it will not be in Braille, it may be in sighted, so this app will help me to recognize it.
Odion's renewed hope is thanks to a Nigerian startup called Vinsight. Its team has developed several products, including a mobile app that translates text to audio. That software, CEO Kolawole Tomi explains, is now being remodeled into a hardware eyeglass.
The hardware glasses is pretty much leveraging the same technology as the software, but at an optimized level. And what this glasses pretty much does is that it helps those who are visually impaired to be able to read, one, identify objects, scenes, and colors around them, also identify currency, and also over time, the glass is going to be able to help improve visual acuity.
Kolawole says he became curious about how tech could help the visually impaired after an acquaintance at university told him about a friend who had been forced to drop out of school. A little over 15% of the world's blind population resides in Africa, according to the World Health Organization. Vinsight says its products are used in schools and institutions and estimates it has reached about 5,000 people.
Thank you for joining us in the Business 7 studio this week. We'll see you again next week, but let's first catch up with the business highlights in Africa over the past week as compiled by Reuters. Until next week, goodbye.
Here are 5 business stories making headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. South Africa's rand stabilised early on Friday following a steep sell-off the day before. The currency had, at one stage on Thursday, plunged more than 4%, on speculation President Cyril Ramaphosa was going to resign after a panel report found preliminary evidence he may have violated the constitution. Also in South Africa, the country's National Prosecuting Authority said on Thursday that Swiss engineering firm ABB has agreed to pay 2.5 billion rand, or around $144.5 million, for its involvement in state corruption. ABB was investigated for and found guilty of improper payments and other compliance issues at the Kusile power station in a wide-scale investigation that concluded in June. The Ivorian subsidiary of French telecoms company Orange will launch an initial public offering on December the 5th, lead manager NSIA Finance has said. Stock worth almost 141 billion CFA francs, or $215 million, will be sold to private investors, with a discount on offer for Orange Côte d'Ivoire employees. Germany has pledged $86 million to Ghana in grants to support renewable energy and financial sector development, Ghana's finance ministry has said. The West African nation has been unable to access international capital markets since a flurry of credit ratings downgrades at the beginning of the year. And finally, more direct financing is needed to support the whole of Africa's transition to cleaner fuels and power generation, a panel at the Reuters Next conference has heard. Anibal Kraga, Executive Secretary of the African Refiners and Distributors Association, said projects on the continent were struggling to tap available finance for the energy transition.
We have to have a pool of capital designated for projects that are decarbonization projects in Africa that can go beyond just the commercial banks to the DFI so that we can actually execute in a meaningful, sustainable manner.
In Business 7, you get news on current economic, financial, and business matters in Namibia. The weekly show features interviews with experts and in-depth analysis of burning issues in a way that caters for ordinary Namibians and business connoisseurs alike. We crunch the numbers that matter, decipher statistics that shape Namibian lives, discuss smart money, and explore the impact of global development locally. Money makes the world go round, so catch us on NTV, oneup2.com, and the Facebook platforms of the Namibian Sun, Republikane, Allgemeine Zeitung, and Namibia Media Holdings. For news-related or advertising queries, please contact B7@synergy.com.na.